Hi everybody, this is Coach McCreary from Baseball by the Hour. Today's tip is actually in response to a question, and the question was, what is leaking? What does it mean when a hitter leaks? And it's actually pretty good timing, because I've been working with a couple hitters who I've had to explain this to them. So basically, let me give you this analogy. So let's say you have a rubber band, or in this case, a piece of surgical tubing. Now we all know that if I pull back on this surgical tubing, there's a sweet spot somewhere in this area here where I can load up this surgical tubing's maximum energy, so that when I let go from this spot, it creates as good of a snap as this surgical tubing will allow. If I pull back to that sweet spot and my hand comes forward before I let go, you can see it doesn't have the same release of energy. I lose a lot of power in the tubing when I do that. In essence, that's exactly what's going to happen to a hitter's body when they leak. All right, so let me transfer this over to hitting, and I'll show you what this actually means. So if a hitter loads up, okay, and there's a lot of technical stuff in terms of how to load up, okay, but we'll just pass that for now. If a hitter correctly loads up, okay, they're just like that surgical tubing reaching that sweet spot. Now, if a player is doing it correctly, they launch their swing just like you launch that surgical tubing. You let go, and it creates the maximum energy. So if I load up correctly, and I launch right from here, boom, I get 100% energy into the ball. So let me show you what leaking looks like as a hitter. It's just like the hand moving forward before I let go of the rubber band. So I'm in my stride, I stride, I'm completely loaded up, but then the hitter starts to move forward before they swing. They leak. Their head comes forward, maybe their hips come forward, and then they swing. Okay? And so that little movement forward is the same thing as taking my hand, moving it forward, and then letting go. I lose a lot of energy. Now, let me rearrange this, because it also has the problem of I often will get jammed much more as I get older. So let me rearrange things, and when I come back, I'll show you why this can result in hitters getting jammed. Okay, so I'm back here. I've rearranged the batting tees and home plate here to show you a different angle and explain why leaking from a hitter can cause them to get jammed a lot, especially as they get older. So back to my original explanation here. If I'm a hitter and I'm doing it correctly and I'm not leaking, this is set up for an inside pitch. So if I get in my stance, I load up correctly, and I don't leak, and I fire to the ball, you can see that my barrel gets right to the ball on this inside pitch. Now, if I leak, I load up, and my head and body start to move forward, leak forward. Now I swing. As you can see, I now jam myself. Okay? In order for me to hit the ball on the barrel, I'm going to have to hit that ball farther out in front of me if I am leaking. I leak, now I fire, and now that's the only way I can get the barrel on the ball. So as hitters get older, more pitchers are going to throw harder, and more pitchers are going to throw on the inside part of the plate. Little kids can get away with leaking quite a bit, because most of their pitchers are going to keep the ball on the outside part of the plate. So here we have an outside pitch. So even if I leak, I stride, I leak forward, and then swing, I can still get the barrel on the ball. And so a lot of little kids can get fooled into thinking that they have a good swing, and they really don't. They're leaking a lot, but they still are able to hit the ball hard, because outer half pitches, I can get the barrel on the ball. And so they can go straight through Little League by leaking a lot and still hitting the ball with authority, generally towards the right side of the field. But as they get older, pitchers throw harder and they throw more inside. They're going to get eaten up by a lot of those better pitchers, because they're just not going to get the barrel to the ball in time. If they leak with a guy who's throwing hard, they're going to end up getting that inside pitch right here, and it's just not going to work anymore. Now, I will say leaking is sometimes a very tough thing to fix, partly because a lot of little leaguers can get away with it for several years before it starts to catch up with them. So in a future video, I may come up with some drills here and show you some drills, maybe with my son, and give an indication of some of the things you can do to try to get your hitters out of the habit of leaking. All right, folks, well, that's going to do it for today. Hope you learned something about leaking, and keep working hard, folks, and best of luck.